Now to a News Nation exclusive investigation into a secret government experiment that was carried out in St. Louis. Residents tell us they still remember a mysterious fog. Children would run through it. Mothers would try and close their windows against it. For decades, they all had questions, and now we're seeking answers. The United States Army now admits that it sprayed a chemical that contained cadmium, a known carcinogen, on a neighborhood of more than 10,000 people. Critics say this was done with no warning and no consent. Well, tonight we return to the site of that demolished neighborhood and speak with former residents who believe the government turned them into human test subjects. Although the Army admits that the test happened, it is not admitted to harming the residents. News Nation's Natasha Zuvez investigates what was in the fog and why the truth may still be buried.
The fog drifted through the streets like a ghost.
That's exactly what it looked like, a thick fog.
It was summertime and it was hot. We would just run through it as fast as we could and try to just cool ourselves off. It stuck to you.
The spray was so foul as far as the odor. It made some of us have headaches, nausea, dizziness.
That's what I remember. It made me sick.
It wasn't the weather. It was an eerie smoke descending from rooftops, rolling from the backs of trucks.
Regular flatbed truck, but it had a big machine on the back. And it had a big nozzle that really sprayed a fog you couldn't even see through. It was that thick. And it really, we felt it as it would adhere to our skin. And as far as the guys on top of the buildings, they tried to portray them to us as maintenance workers. But we was like, what is a maintenance worker doing? And basically a hazmat suit. And they had masks and goggles.
In the 1950s and 60s, in secret, the U.S. Army sprayed zinc cadmium sulfide into the air of a St. Louis housing project, a largely black neighborhood called Pruitt-Igoe.
It was a lose-lose situation for us in Pruitt-Igoe. We were subjects. We were subjects.
They didn't ask for our permission. We didn't ask for them to spray us. My government used me like I was a guinea pig.
We're standing at where Pruitt-Igoe used to be here in St. Louis, and it's hard to believe more than 10,000 people used to live here. As we bring our drone up, you can see it's mostly just an empty lot now, overgrown with trees. This used to be filled with 33 high-rise buildings. It was all demolished in 1976. And according to the National Research Council, St. Louis was chosen for spraying experiments because it had similar characteristics to Soviet targets like Moscow in terms of population density and terrain and proximity to a river.
The government now admits to a secretive series of Cold War tests, including one dubbed Large Area Coverage. More than 30 tests conducted across the U.S. and Canada, spraying zinc cadmium sulfide from planes, rooftops, and vehicles to simulate how a biological attack might spread, all to prepare for potential warfare against the Soviets.
Many of us been in the military and had top secret clearances. We know how it works.
We have died for America. We have fought for America.
You are a veteran.
I am United States Air Force veteran.
Dr. Starks, you're a veteran as well,
Yes, I am. I'm an Air Force veteran also.
Is there a sense of betrayal here?
Definitely, definitely.
They want to know if those secret tests have anything to do with what they're observing with their own eyes.
I lost my two older siblings to cancer. I lost a brother last month.
I've been diagnosed recently with a rare form of lymphoma.
I had cancer of the left kidney, had partial removal of my left kidney.
News Nation reached out to the Army for answers. They provided a one-page response. It says the Army's own Center for Health Promotion and Preventive Medicine investigated in 1994 and found inhalation exposure would not pose a health risk. They also cite later corroborating reviews, including a 1997 review by the National Research Council. Perhaps they assumed we wouldn't read the NRC's 380-page report, but we did, and the Army's statement doesn't show the full picture. In that 1997 review, the National Research Council explicitly says repeated exposure to zinc cadmium sulfide can cause kidney or bone toxicity or lung cancer if levels are high enough. And they admitted they couldn't fully assess the risk. Why? Because some Army records remain classified, it says, for national security reasons. More troubling, key Army exposure records were missing. And when the NRC asked the Army to supply them, the Army said it couldn't find them. Finally, the NRC considered conducting its own study, but concluded it wasn't feasible. In short, it did not test the site, collect samples, or test residents, and they didn't have access to all the data. Their review was based on what the Army gave them, and what the Army either could not find or withheld. The Army ends its statement to News Nation by saying, quote, none of the reports contained evidence of a radioactive component to the zinc-cadmium sulfide dispersion tests. Residents say the secrecy and delays are no accident.
They're waiting us out.
They're waiting on all of us to die.
But that's not even the whole story, as residents demand to know what else could have been in that spray.
They have not come clean with what was in there.
Do you believe that it was just zinc cadmium sulfide in that spray?
No.
No.
We go to the source, a researcher who has spent decades declassifying government documents about these tests.
Do you believe the U.S. government sprayed some kind of radioactive material on the residents of St. Louis?
I believe that they did.
And the government's surprising response to our request to declassify information.
I mean, what the hell?
Plus, renowned activist Erin Brockovich weighs in.
Do you think there's been a lie here, a cover-up here?
It sure looks that way.
The residents are asking for an apology from the government for being experimented on. They are asking for compensation, for health studies for themselves and their children. They're also asking for transparency. They want the government to release all the documents about the spraying. So, Elizabeth, tomorrow night on your show, we will go on a journey to try to declassify the one government document that a key researcher tells us she has never been able to expose. And we take the investigation to Erin Brockovich. For the residents still here, still fighting, the question is whether they will get any answers before it's too late. Elizabeth.
Well, they have a better chance of it with you on the case. Natasha Zuvez, thank you so much.
Tonight, the parents of 17-year-old Tania Tovar are speaking exclusively with News Channel 3 following the identification of her remains and the arrest of a person in connection to her death. 51-year-old Salton City man Abraham Feinblum has been arrested on suspicion of murder and resisting a peace officer. He's being held without bail in an Imperial County jail. Hello, I'm Athena Gerage. News Channel 3 was the first to report that Tovar's remains had been identified after her mother told reporter Garrett Hoddle that DNA police collected from her matched remains discovered near the Salton Sea back in December. Tonight, both of Tovar's parents are speaking together on the case for the first time and about the daughter they lost.
Before the field, before the crime scene tape, before the arrest, it was just Tania.
Tania is a vibrant young lady, a spark. She is a force to reckon with.
A daughter. A teenager with big energy and dreams.
She's funny in her own ways, very flamboyant.
Her parents, Charo Tovar and Josh Carter, are separated. Tania wasn't living with them. Like a lot of 17-year-olds, she was figuring out life, sometimes doing things our parents wish we wouldn't. But at the end of the day, she had a mom and dad who she knew would be there if there ever came a time nobody else would. She was 17, on probation, but her parents say she checked in daily. She shared her location. Until December 1st.
I didn't know she was going to go meet someone. She didn't say who she was going to go meet. She just said she was going to Palm Springs. Her location was on, then it was off. And then her friends contacted me on social media to tell me that they hadn't heard from Tania either.
On December 1st, 2025, Tania is reported missing. December 21st, deputies respond to Portsmouth Avenue and New Haven Court in Salton City. They discover a human leg in a field. At the time, investigators cannot determine an ID. Weeks pass, then February 6, 2026, Imperial County Sheriff's investigators receive a positive DNA match from the remains. Tania's mother provided a sample. Rapid testing confirms the remains belong to Tania Tovar. On February 11th, News Channel 3 reports that confirmation. Authorities formally confirmed the next day. On February 13th, deputies and FBI agents returned to a home on Harlequin Court in Salton City, the same one from February 6th. Investigators say when they moved in, 51-year-old Abraham Feinblum ran, jumping a fence before being taken into custody on suspicion of murder and resisting a peace officer. He's now being held without bail at the Imperial County Jail. He has not been formally charged. Tania's parents say they drove to Harlequin Court multiple times asking police to search the home.
I gave them all the information that they needed. I don't believe that they took me serious. I don't believe they took me serious. I gave them too much evidence for them to have did something now.
They say they never saw Feinblum face to face. They never saw him come outside. They've been watching the scene unfold from a distance. These past 2 weeks, fighting for answers, pushing for action, barely having a moment to grieve.
I have to complete this. If it kills me, I don't care. I have to complete this for Tania. I need to find justice for her. So I don't care about me right now. I don't care how sick I get, if I lose my voice, if I lose my life, if I lose my heart. I cannot sleep. I cannot rest until I get justice for Tania.
Neighbors tell News Channel 3 they heard screaming around the time Tania disappeared. They described loud drumming, bright lights at night.
You've been the neighbor here for several years. Can you tell me anything about him, this man that lives here?
He's always been very odd, scary. Since we moved here in 2015, we've always called him the scary man in the scary house. When we finished moving in 2015, we noticed there was a forensic truck here also back then.
Strange construction of a pink wall surrounding the home.
The only report that I got was the neighbor heard a scream. They saw her in the backyard. Shortly after that, he was carrying a duffel bag out to one of his vehicles.
Claims not confirmed by law enforcement. Despite the arrests, there's no closure. Only part of Tania's remains have been recovered. Investigators continue processing evidence. The case remains active. Some questions beginning to get answers. Some of the most important have not.
Why? Everything else is ever. Why? Where is she? Where is the rest of my daughter? I can't.
Tania's mother, Charo, tells us one thing she's never had to question is support from the Salton City community. Neighbors who have treated Tania like their own.
I've been receiving every single tip, every single clue. I've been checking up on everything, so I have to also thank people for sharing my daughter's story on TikTok, on Snapchat, on Facebook, on all the platforms. I appreciate it so much, because a lot of them didn't know her, but they took it serious and they prayed for her to come home.
That was Garrett Hoddle reporting. Abraham Feinblum remains in jail tonight, arrested for suspicion of murder and resisting a peace officer. News Channel 3 will update you if and when formal charges are brought.
An update now to a deadly hit and run. It happened in Clearwater last week, and right now, 51-year-old Don Dunkel is in the Pinellas County Jail. Police say she was the driver of a Ford Mustang that crashed into 60-year-old Elbert Gilbert while he was in the crosswalk on Gulf to Bay Boulevard. Investigators say she did not call 911 or even check on him. Gilbert died that day at the hospital. Investigators say they used parts of her car from the crash scene to identify her as the owner. And Dunkel allegedly told people that she thought she hit a box or a speed bump last week. We spoke with people out there who knew Gilbert. They say he always made people smile. Dunkel is charged with leaving the scene of a crash involving death and possession of a controlled substance. She has not faced a judge to set bond. We will keep you updated.
We begin at 5 with the first person to be charged and convicted under Michigan's new hate crime law in Kent County. He learned his sentence today.
Travis Bond assaulted a woman in her car and called her a racial slur in Wyoming last summer.
13 on your side's Callie Lichter was in 17th Circuit Court. And Callie, what led up to the assault?
Juliet, Elena, it all began when the victim was trying to pull her car out on 44th Street. Her cell phone video shows what happened next. The first man to be charged and convicted under Michigan's new hate crime statute in Kent County will not serve additional jail time. This is video from the victim's cell phone who caught the hate crime on camera. Let's go! Travis Bond was convicted of assaulting the woman and calling her racial slurs in Wyoming last summer. The woman, who spoke to 13 on your side but asked to remain anonymous for her safety, said she was leaving lunch on 44th Street in June when she was waiting to turn onto the one-way. She heard a loud horn, thinking it was another car, but then saw Bond on his bike with his air horn. That's when she took out her phone, recording the nearly 30-second clip. Stupid. Bond calls her another slur before going around her car, saying, "See, this is why some cops have a problem with you black people." The woman questions Bond as he comes around to the driver's side of her car and blares his horn. What'd you say? The arresting officer wrote in a probable cause affidavit that Bond maliciously and immediately used force or violence against the woman based in whole or in part due to her race or color. In April 2025, Michigan's ethnic intimidation crime was replaced with a broader hate crime offense. In court, his attorney said this was very out of character for him and that he was remorseful for his actions and wished to say sorry to the victim. But Bond did not apologize in court.
I just want to thank my lawyers for everything that they have done. My parents too. I want to thank them for the support.
He was sentenced to time served for 3 days in jail and 2 years probation. Bond could have spent up to 5 years in prison or had to pay a $10,000 fine for that hate crime offense. The judge did not go into detail about why she handed down the sentence of time served. The newsroom, Kelly Lichter, 13 on your side.
Witnesses to the shooting are talking about what they saw last night. Some of them spoke with us today, and 13 Your Sides, Callie Lichter continues our team coverage with what they saw. Callie.
Elena, those witnesses say they are both scared and scarred about what they saw happen to their neighbor last night just feet from their apartment complex. Around 9:30 Wednesday night, the parking lot of Eastern Lofts Apartments in the Baxter neighborhood of Grand Rapids became a crime scene.
They had guns pointed or lights pointed, one of the two. I was kind of frantic, so I don't remember, but they had something pointed at him.
3 witnesses described shots being fired during an officer-involved shooting in their parking lot. Their neighbor, Daquan Johnson, is now dead after the altercation.
They were trying to detain him, and in the midst of that, they told him to stop moving.
2 witnesses who asked to remain anonymous saw the events unfold from their windows, including the moments a Grand Rapids canine was sent to subdue Johnson.
One of them couldn't get the dog to detach from him, so they both just stepped around and told him to stop moving, stop screaming while the dog was still latched, and shot him.
But how could he stop moving with this dog maliciously attacking him? They told him stop moving. They said that 2 times. They said, you're going to get yourself shot, and they shot him.
Although Silas Dean didn't see the altercation between Johnson and GRPD, his car now holds the memory of last night.
Sad to hear somebody getting killed over here where we live and close to my car. It's not an enjoyable thought, you know. Someone dying right by your car, you know, getting shot and whatnot.
He was friendly with his neighbor and knows his family is mourning.
It's really sorry that it happened, and now the children's not going to have a father.
The shooting has left the neighbors on edge.
I already have anxiety. I was just coming from the hospital, so it wasn't what I was expecting at all. My stomach was in more knots than it was before.
I'm scared for my kids. It's troubling that the people who are supposed to serve and protect us is killing us.
Those witnesses did say that officers went to the building and talked to witnesses about what they saw happen in that parking lot, Elena.
Sense to you, bro? Alright, bro. Cuz, bro. Treating me like I'm some crazy ass nigga, bro. A random car drives behind me close like that. What? Bro, look where you are, nigga. I was on the sidewalk right here. You was driving close as fuck to me, bro. Come on, bro.
Hey, I'm just gonna tell you again to chill out and stop screaming and don't get in my face, okay? That's the last time you're gonna get in my face.
I'm not even close to you right now, gang.
Okay.
Just give me my shit and I can go about my business. Cause this is low-key illegal what you just did. You just checked me for no reason. What was your reason for getting my ID?
You said you were a student, so I asked your parents.
No. What was your initial reason? Because you see my hoodie. I have a Georgia State hoodie on, bro.
Right, and what I asked you?
What I'm saying? What was your reason?
Hold on now.
What was your reasoning?
What did I ask you?
What was your reasoning, dude? You can't just ask anybody you're a Georgia State student. What was your reasoning? Did I commit a crime? Did I commit? That's what I'm saying. Thank you. You seen that? Thank you. You seen that shit, right? Yeah, nigga. I have witnesses right here, bro.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm paranoid as hell.
It's okay, man, because we got cameras all around here. So you can see.
I don't know what he done. I just saw you look like you were
driving close. I didn't do anything.
Right.
So hold on. You don't have no reason to get my ID, right? I'm not doing anything.
Actually, when you are a student here, this is what I asked.
With a Georgia State hoodie on?
Right.
So you just go around asking random kids, are you a Georgia State student? Even the kid with a Georgia State hoodie on? Does that make sense to you, bro? Alright, bro.
Again, I hope you get the help you need, man.
Alright. What's up? I'm calm. I just gotta videotape this bullshit, bro. Like, this is literally a police harassment. How you gonna ask me if I'm a Georgia State student with a Georgia State hoodie on, bro? Georgia State hoodie on, gang. Come on, bro. Use your brain, nigga. Driving close as fuck. Bro, he pulled to the sidewalk, gang. Sidewalk. I was walking. He pulled close behind me. I'm looking paranoid. He gonna make it seem like